Every Sunday morning, Willie Geist brings us the biggest names in news and pop culture, from actors and musicians to presidents and CEOs, telling the stories behind their success. This weekend, the show is celebrating a huge milestone, and Willie joins us now to share it all. Hey, Willie, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm great, Sarah. I'm always happy to see you, although no one will be happier than the other members of my family who worship you and the show that comes on after mine in New York. I've told you this before when I see you in the hallway. My mom's like, I'm like, what did you think of the show? She's like, oh yeah, that was good. Now, Sarah, this apartment, hardwoods throughout. I mean, it looked like a house, but it's in the village.
Well, we got Sunday mornings covered for your mom.
Exactly.
All right, but it's 5 years for the show. I can't even believe it. Feels like it went really fast. How does it feel for you?
It's incredible. It really is. It felt like at the time something we'd give a try. You know, I have a day job during the week on MSNBC. Let's see how this goes. And you blink like anything in life. Yeah. And it's 5 years, and it's a credit to our amazing staff, really.
So I know this is like picking a favorite child, but do you have like a favorite interview that you've done?
It is hard, but I think for me, they're sort of two buckets. It's personal heroes, people you grew up really looking up to and can't believe you're sitting across, and then people who don't do a lot of interviews. David Letterman was one for us where he and I went fly fishing up in Westchester County. And then I would say most recently, about a year ago, right before all this happened and the world shut down, was Al Pacino.
Who surprised you the most? Was it Al?
No, I think the one, I'm thinking of Viola Davis for some reason. She's almost has a preacher's cadence and a wisdom to her. So you're there to talk about whatever the movie is or whatever the project is. And an hour later, you've sort of like discovered the meaning of life.
We've had her on the show too, and she's like just such a presence. I love her.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned J-Lo. Now that you're saying that, she was one for me too, because she comes in with the J-Lo of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there are 20 people and she's putting her fingers out and somebody's putting rings on them and they're doing all this stuff. Yes. And then the minute they all go away, and she just goes, hi. Okay. It was like, now I'm here.
I mean, with everyone that you've interviewed, has anyone ever made you nervous?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we wouldn't be human. I think Seinfeld probably, because I know how smart he is and how intolerant he is of someone who's just not even playing on his level. Because in a funny way, I've watched him do that to people where he can just run circles around them. So my answer to that is just total preparation. Know everything you can know, and don't try to be as funny as he is. That's another good interview lesson.
Yeah. Well, speaking of comedians, I know you get to do some fun activities on the show. I know you got to go cross-country skiing with Jim Gaffigan. Let me just say, I hate cross-country skiing, and I'm from the Adirondacks, but I would do that with Jim Gaffigan, right?
He didn't even have anything to promote. We just
I love it.
Thought he was funny and said, we'd love to have you on sometime, whatever your next thing is. And he goes, well, does Willie want to go cross-country skiing with me? Again, you look down at yourself floating above and you're cross-country skiing with one of your favorite comedians. It's pretty crazy.
But listen, you're not slowing down, obviously. Who do you have coming up? Who are you excited about?
We're excited. We've got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson coming up. Michael B. Jordan is coming up. We just had on Andra Day, who amazingly, won the Golden Globe for United States versus Billie Holiday. The minute you think you've I think 5 years we've interviewed everybody. No, there's not only a whole list of people you still haven't interviewed, but new people. Somebody like Andra Day, who 5 years ago wouldn't have been on the radar. She's having this moment and she wants to come sit with us.
Yeah, and for those that don't catch the whole thing or want to see more, you also have the podcast, right? And it's the Sunday sit downs.
By TV standards, our 8-minute interviews are long.
Usually I know.
4 minutes or 5 minutes. So that was a good start. But as I said, if you sit with someone for 45 minutes or an hour and the interview is 8 minutes, that means there's 45 minutes or more lying on the floor. And so I said, well, why don't we just cut it off at the top and the tail. I'll record an introduction and a tag at the end and wrap it up. And we just post the whole thing online.
Yeah. And fans love seeing the mug shots. I got to say, I got to get myself a
mug. Oh, we're going to fix that. Don't ask me why. It's become like the #1 selling thing on the NBC store. And I'm starting to wonder if the babies are actually using it as a coffee mug or if their parents are putting it in their hands, pushing them forward to get on the show. But it's working.
It's working. It's working. Another huge milestone, though. You're still doing Morning Joe.
Yeah.
And recently it was #1 across all the cable television in the time slot, which it's always been a great show. But what do you think is kind of hitting with viewers right now?
I think it was just the politics of the time. There was an urgency every day during the campaign, every day during COVID. Obviously, there's been an urgency to it, and that hasn't gone away, unfortunately. So we had a good quarter, but it's just a quarter, so we'll try to keep going.
Yeah, well, lots of great stuff. It's always so fun to catch up with you, Willie, and congrats on 5 years. Here's to 5 more wonderful years ahead and beyond. And we just want to let everyone know to tune in to Sunday Today with Willie Geist every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Willie, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah. So great to see you. My mom is going to be thrilled that I talked to you today.
I love your mom.